Welcome back, everyone, to more from the Sableyes. I'm here today with Jordan. How are we doing, Jordan?
Not too bad, thank you.
And he's good. And it's a shame that we couldn't get Blake, because it's his deck, Jordan. It's Blacephalon. We're here to take a look at the top 4 lists from Brazil that did quite well. And yeah, Blacephalon GX, a classic deck. Oh, actually, coming up on 1 year, Jordan, that this card's been in the format. I remember I played it at Brisbane regionals last year, and we're 2 weeks away from that, so it's got a bit of longevity. I remember people saying that this card wouldn't be very good, yet here we are in 2019 and we're still playing it.
Well, I was one of those people who didn't think it was very good at first. I quickly had my mind changed when you and Blake were testing it. It seemed like it was pretty solid. I think it's had its ups and downs, but yeah, at the moment it seems like it's pretty good. It's got all of that new fire support that has just made fire decks even better, and Blacephalon is no exception to that.
Yeah, and the best thing that Blacephalon's got going for it is there's so many ways to draw cards in this deck. Like, you can draw so many cards in a turn. You can find B-strings with absolutely no problem. I remember when you first played the deck, it used to be like, oh, if I don't get B-string on the 3 or 4 prize turn, that's like it. I can't do anything. But now, if I go down to 3 or 4 prizes, it's like, oh, well, I'm just going to hit Factory. I'm going to Naganadel twice. I'm going to draw cards with Welder, and it'll be fine. I'll find it in 15 cards. It's not a problem. But anyway, let's talk about the deck. We have 3 copies of Blacephalon. I won't explain that. That card has been out for long enough. We also have a super thick line of Naganadel. Now, we've got 4 Poipole, so we're only going to be able to use a few of them, but we've got 3 Naganadel with charging up in order to power up energy from the discard pile, put it into the field of play. Traditional way that Blacephalon attacks. We've got 2 copies of Naganadel GX with Ultra Conversion in order to help draw more cards. We can find 3 cards for discarding an Ultra Beast, and we can also power this up using Beast Ring and manual attachments to use a Venom Shot, which gives us a 170 snipe for the bench, good for killing the Denes. And we also have 1 copy of Naganadel GX with Stinger GX, and this card is part of the reason why it Blacephalon has a really, really good matchup against Stall, because you can just Sting it and then Blacephalon, use your baby Blacephalon to do 120 and just win the game.
Yeah, this lineup of Naganadels and Blacephalon feels really strong to me because it's the main consistency of the deck, right? Like, you need to have multiple Naganadels in play for the deck to function properly and make sure you have enough energy in play to actually be attacking every turn for knockouts. Your Naganadel GX with Ultra Conversion is going to be your main access to draw, and Ultra Conversion is stronger with the more Ultra Beasts you're playing in your list. So you may be thinking, well, yeah, we've got 6 Naganadels in our deck. We're probably only going to use 3 a game. Those other 3 can be discarded throughout the match to draw an extra 9 cards, 12 cards potentially if you're not using that baby Blacephalon, which is obviously matchup dependent. So having extra Ultra Beasts in your deck is it's always a good thing because they're never going to be dead cards as long as there's no power plant in play. And as you mentioned, that Stinger GX is so strong. It gives you such good matchups against the stall decks that were seemingly very popular in Brazil. So this makes it Blacephalon seem like it was a very strong metagame pick for this tournament. The 120 damage that you can go into after Stinger GX against pretty much any Pidgeotto deck is going to be that final push that you need to win the game, especially when those are decks that aren't taking prize cards. So you're probably going to be able to pull off that Blacephalon attack more than once.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Naganadel gives you the opportunity to really swing those matchups, and I think it actually saw, like that was exactly what happened in the top 8 game. I'm 90% sure that this Blacephalon was playing the Doll Stall variant. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yep,
that's correct.
And that play was the play that got Blacephalon into top 4. So it's really, really strong. It's one that Blake's been testing out quite a bit. I can't remember if we've shown it on the channel or not, but it's seen success. It's a real thing. The rest of the Pokemon line is very easy, because once we've talked about Blacephalon and Naganadel, there are literally 2 more Pokemon. We have 1 Dedenne, which we can use to draw even more cards on our Beast Ring turn, and we have 1 copy of Heatran GX. Heatran GX is a good basic Fire-type Pokemon. You can put all the energy that you've got in play onto it with Burning Road for a huge Hot Burn GX. You can use it for Steaming Stomp in those matchups where you need to just do 130 every turn. And it has 190 HP, which is kind of tough for some cards to deal with. So Heatran GX, generically good GX Pokemon for this deck to have to conserve energy.
Yeah, it's a really good counterpart attacker to Blacephalon because, as you mentioned, the 190 damage is like a lot harder for some decks. Like, for example, ADP with Ultra Creation can only do 180. if they haven't got a Keldeo powered up. So Heatran's going to be a really good option against decks like that can only do 180. That Hot Burn GX is a way of taking a big knockout without lost zoning your fire energy, so you can use the same energy kind of twice. You can use it once with Heatran's GX stack, and then transition into your Blacephalon, use those excess energy in play to take a backup huge knockout with the same energy. And also, the other thing I really like about Heatran is just in general, you can use it against anything that kind of walls Ultra Beast. So we see Guardian players are playing Ultra Beast Fairy Charm. There's always a couple cards here and there that have benefits against Ultra Beasts. Heatran's just a generic fire attacker that goes through all of that stuff.
Exactly, it's not a worry. And it's also really good against those Pokemon that need to evolve as well. Steaming Stomp can come in, take one prize, don't lose the energy. Always really good. Now, the rest of the deck is built around making sure that we get our Pokemon into play, or that we get our Beast Rings off when they need to go. So, let's talk about that. Our supporter lineup is a very traditional Blacephalon supporter lineup. We've got 4 copies of Cynthia and 4 copies of Welder. Welder, of course, making Blacephalon that much stronger than it used to be. But we also have 2 copies of Mallow and Lana. Now, for me, I'm kind of like, why is Mallow and Lana in this deck? Because I'm either gonna get knocked out or I'm gonna do a ton of damage. But Mallow and Lana is just really good as a basic ability to switch, right? You can just use it to switch out. And you potentially need to do that with Heatran having 3 retreat cost. When you use Stinger GX on your Naganadel, you need to switch into the Blacephalon. There's lots of uses for it, and the healing can come up.
Yeah, it's definitely a weird card in this deck, as I've said previously on the channel. Even with 180 HP, Blacephalon is a very fragile card in this format. It's going to die to pretty much anything, so it's not super important for the heal, but the heal is going to come up if you play some of those cheeky non-GX attacking decks, like, for example, Malamar is all of a sudden a winnable matchup thanks to this Mallow and Lana if you can pull them off at the right time. And yeah, the switch effect is something that Blacephalon was always lacking. Sometimes you'd be able to cheese wins against Blacephalon with a cheeky paralysis here or there off of a Dedenne, or Pikarom players used to be able to cheese wins by using the paralysis from Raichu, but now that's not going to be an option. You can just play Mallow and Lana to remove those status conditions, potentially go into your Heatran and pull off a massive Hot Burn GX.
Yeah, exactly. And you can also use it to get around pesky Cryogonals, which really annoy this deck. I'll throw it out there. Like, they don't win against it, but they annoy it. So that is an option as well. If we've missed a reason that Mallow and Lana is in this list, please tell us, because I feel like there's another reason. I'm just not smart enough to know it. The rest of the list, like we said, item cards to find the Pokemon that we need. We have 2 copies of Cherish Ball. We kind of want to hold on to this so we can search for either Heatran or Dedenne, but in a pinch you can use it to get one of your Blacephalons or your Naganadel GXs, but really we want to be searching for the Naganadels with Mysterious Treasure and finding Blacephalons off of 2 of our Ultra Space. Now, Ultra Space might not get into play because of Chaotic Swell, but the 2 count means that we have the option if we're playing against the deck that doesn't have them.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird scenario in this format where you're like, I don't want to play too many stadiums so that I'm reliant on them and then I lose to Chaotic Swell because I can't play them. But I don't want to play not enough that when I'm not playing against Chaotic Swell, I can't find them. So 2 seems like a good count to go to in this format. So you've got them there as that really strong consistency option. And then if your opponent is playing something annoying like Chaotic Swell, you've still got your 4 Treasure and your 2 Cherish Ball to find your Pokemon. You won't be completely dead drawing without that Ultra Space most of the time, and instead of the Ultra Spaces, we're able to fit in a few other consistency cards like those Pokegears.
Yeah, this is a really interesting one as well. 2 copies of Pokegear. The best thing about Blacephalon is that it only attacks for 2 energy, and sometimes that 2 energy is all that you realistically need, and if you can happen to Pokegear yourself into a Welder, bang, you're doing 150 minimum damage. If you can get the Pokegear off at the right time, you will be feeling real good, and it also helps you find those Mallow and Lana as well. So if you are in a pinch, Pokegear, a couple of copies, well, maybe we'll be able to find something.
Yeah, Blacephalon has an interesting relationship with Welder. It feels like Welder acts differently in this fire deck than it does in any of the others, because we're not playing any way of searching for fire. We don't have Giant Halves or Fire Crystals or Fiery Flints. We kind of just want to draw into Welder when we manually have Fire Energy in our hand, which, to be fair, is pretty likely when we're running so many.
Yep.
But we also only really need Welder to accelerate 1 energy, and that's completely fine. Like, obviously 2 is usually better, but just that 1 energy plus a manual attachment is all that this deck needs to power up a Blacephalon GX to start applying lots of pressure. So being able to find those Welders without needing to Dedenne for it, for example, lose all of your fire energy, you're gonna have to just hope to draw into Welder plus more fire because there's no way to search for them. So having a way to tutor for the Welder is really strong, I feel.
Yeah, it's really cool, and the 2 count means that you're not like committing to it, but it's the option is there if you need it. Another way of drawing cards we have is Heat Factory Prism. We can discard a Fire Energy to draw 3. You've seen this card before. We've featured Fire decks. You've probably played Fire decks. You know what it does. We've got Reset Stamp, 1 copy, in order to potentially screw our opponents over. It's a weird thing to say, Jordan, but Blacephalon GX only gives up 2 prizes, and lots of decks in this format give up 3, so Reset Stamp forces your opponent to find more cards when they have to take their, God forbid, 3rd knockout.
Yeah, you can kind of make the prize trade awkward for them as well by going into your Nagano 3 prize turn, which you often can you can kind of make it happen with Burst GX. You can force yourself onto 3 prizes, or just take out a tag team Pokemon and nothing else. Turn that Nagano on to do 160 damage, and force your opponent's prize trade to become odd, and that's when Reset Stamp is really strong. But it's definitely a weird card in this deck, because I think it's like the only item card in this deck that doesn't offer any form of consistency.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, isn't it? But that's, I guess, the reason why we're only playing 1. We also have 2 copies of Great Catcher. Doesn't provide consistency, but does provide prizes, so we can catcher up something and knock it out. But the key for the deck to work is obviously Beast Ring. Beast Ring is the thing that makes Blacephalon sometimes unbeatable. If your opponent pulls off 3 or 4 Beast Ring, you can just be like, nope, I'm not playing this game anymore, that's it. But if they miss him, then they pretty much have to do the same thing. So Beast Ring is kind of the pivot that makes this deck work, if it works at all. But hey, we'll try and we won't talk about it anymore. We'll show it off in game.
Yeah. That's the idea.
That's the idea. We're going to actually play a game with this deck. Fingers crossed. Yeah, we've got 14 Fire Energy in the list. It's a little bit lower than old Blacephalon lists, but the new one is obviously still playing the Beast Energy for that extra 30 damage, and the single Psychic Energy, which has come up quite a lot after World Championships, means that we can potentially power up Naganadel GX with a couple of Beast Rings, find that Psychic and start Venom Shotting, which is pretty decent.
And it's the reason why we're able to so easily tech that new Blacephalon with, I forget what the attack's called, but the one that does 120 snipe is, you don't have to find the Beast Energy to use that. You can just Beast Ring onto it with the 1 Psychic Energy, and that actually has a lot of synergy with your Stinger GX. You can Stinger, put your opponent onto 3 prize cards, activate Beast Ring, and then use the Beast Ring to search for your Psychic Energy and the Fire Energy to power up your baby Blacephalon. So the Psychic Energy, at least in this list, is definitely 100% required.
100% required. You heard it here first. Again, hopefully we find an opponent. We are looking for one, and hopefully this time our opponent provides us with a game. That would be nice. Although I wouldn't be surprised if we just sit here and hope for the best for a bit. This could be anything. We've got Fire, Lightning, Metal, and Colorless. Normally when you see Metal, Fire, and Colorless, that means Baby Blacephalon, so it could be big boys versus little boys here, Jordan. You never know.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty interesting matchup, because all of a sudden the prize trade for us becomes pretty ugly. We kind of want to start transitioning into our Naganadels as attackers, which doesn't typically do enough damage. You kind of need to have the 3 prize turn active, or potentially like a way to gust out your opponent's Naganadel, which we currently aren't playing in this list. Some previous lists have obviously played cards like Custom Catcher and Ninetales, but Great Catcher is a much stronger card in this build, so if this is Baby Blacephalon, it could be a tough matchup, but we'll see what happens.
We certainly will. We are seeing a lot of Baby Blacephalon on the ladder at the moment. There goes Mega Lopunny and Jigglypuff. We're about to find out. We are playing against Ditto. Okay, cool. We didn't find anything out. We didn't find anything out.
The deck that plays stage 1, so
it's a Ditto.
Blacephalon's still looking likely. It's a deck that plays stage 1s and Welder, so that actually does whittle it down quite a lot. It could be that Abilities Are deck with Flareon. That's a stage 1 fire type that's probably seeing the most play right now. But yeah, I would say it's probably going to be a Baby Blacephalon deck that's drawing poorly.
Looks like it. Do you know what the worst bit here is, Jordan? We've got all the things we need. We just don't have any Fire Energy. Oh yes,
That's
we do.
like the easiest
Don't worry.
part to find.
Don't worry about it. Forget it. Forget it. We got it. It's fine. It's fine. All right. So
what are we doing with this fire energy? I reckon we're using World to draw 3 cards, try and find an attachment. Seems probably like the safest play to me.
That does seem like the safest thing. What I am going to do, though, is I'm going to Mysterious Treasure away Mallow and Lana. I don't want it. I'm going to get another Poi Pole, and we're going to start setting that up. And then we are going to Welder as well.
As we can. Do we want to play the Ultra Space with an extra card, or do we want to leave that Heat Factory in play for just in case we draw another fire?
I think we want to Welder and see what we get. Obviously, the Ultra Space gives us a better chance of finding another energy, but I don't mind if we don't because we can always just burst GX. So I think we just Welder and give ourselves the option to go into the Heat Factory if we draw a couple of fire. We didn't.
We drew one, so now we have another decision. Do we want to Heat Factory away this fire, or do you try and draw another? It's definitely worth it to draw a fire.
Yeah, exactly. I think now I'm kind of like, oh, maybe we just Heat Factory. And also, if we are playing Blacephalon, maybe we don't want to put down the Ultra Space because then they'll be able to find a Pokemon to kill us. I think we just Heat Factory.
Worst case scenario, we just burst, and we got rewarded.
We were rewarded. Okay, so now, do we Mind Blown or Burst? I think we just Mind Blown here. I don't think we need to do anything
Mind
else.
Blown, get rid of that Jirachi. And I would say if we are going to have a chance at winning that prize trade against this deck, that Baby Blacephalon is going to be the way we're going to try and do it. We want our opponent to be on 3 prize cards. So ideally, we want to use this Blacephalon, take as many prizes as we can, and then go into a Baby Naganadel, force our opponent to take a non-GX, go down to 3 prizes, and then use that Blacephalon to try and take out a couple Pidgeotos. And if we can do that, that's fine. As a giant half, that's actually going to help us quite a bit.
Yeah, we can use the giant half now. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah, this matchup actually seems fine if your opponent doesn't get like a turn 2 knockout. Thanks to that Baby Blacephalon and the non-GX Nagano, we can very easily swing this back into our favor. But hey, this might not even be Baby Blacephalon. We haven't seen any evidence of Baby Blacephalon.
Just kind of presumed that it is, haven't we? We're just going to go, oh, it's Baby Blacephalon. I'm freaking out, man.
Well, it's the deck that's been on, as you said, it's been on the ladder quite a bunch recently. It's kind of the first one you expect, but I know a card that we don't often see in Baby Blacephalon is that Mega Lopunny Jigglypuff, which our opponent just cherished for. And it's a card that's actually pretty good against Blacephalon usually, but right now we've not benched any more GXs.
There we go. So there's a Dedenne Zeb Striker. This looks like Ability Zard, ladies and gentlemen. Alright.
That is a much better matchup for us.
Okay, now I'm not feeling so bad. Now we could potentially try and get ourselves into Heatran here. Now that Blacephalon, the Psychic one, isn't as important. We don't need that as much now that we're not playing Baby Blacephalon, so that could be a potential discard. We're going to have a couple of Naganadel here. We could even find ourselves a Naganadel GX in order to draw some more cards. Yeah, it's just traditional abilities. So I'm feeling a lot better. This is good.
Yeah, I think we're going to be fine regardless, thanks to how the first turn or two of this deck game has gone. The Ditto, I'm guessing, means that we're probably going to see a flare-on from our opponent at some point, considering they welded to it. But yeah, for now, I think we're just going to keep trying to take as many cheap prizes on these Jirachis as we can with Blacephalon. And thanks to that, Giant Half's actually going to be really useful for us because we can start accelerating some energy into the discard pile and start taking advantage of our charging up Naganadel.
So we can chuck that Blacephalon away. We've got an energy to attach. We've got an energy to discard with the Mysterious Treasure. Now, do we grab the Naganadel or do we grab the Naganadel GX here? That's a good question.
We grab the GX. We want to make sure we've got access to draw. When you've got a matchup like this, as long as you're drawing cards, you're usually... We could even get a third Poipole into play with that Mysterious Treasure. Is probably not a bad option as well.
Yeah, that's true. We could. We've got the Ultra Space, so we're going to play that down anyway. Now that we know that we're not worried about it, we'll play the Naganadel GX and we'll get ourselves another Poipole off of Ultra Space. I don't think we realistically need to do anything here apart from... We could, we Mysterious Treasure and just grab something we don't need, like the other Naganadel. Where is it? There it is. Boop.
Yep, that's the one. We can get rid of that.
We can
draw 3 cards. We haven't even supported, so we could also Cynthia if we don't find access to a Welder or something. But really, all we need this turn is Fire Energy just to knock out this Jirachi.
Exactly. And
there we go.
We got one. So we're all good. We charge up to the Naganadel on the bench. We might just play the Cynthia here, although we've got Cherish Ball and a Beast Ring in hand. We realistically don't need to do anything. The energy is on
Yeah.
the Naganadel. We could just leave it as it is, and then just Mind Blown, take a knockout. I think that's probably fine.
Yeah, I'd be happy to mind blown here. The only risk, I guess, is if our opponent does knock out this Blacephalon, then we wouldn't have an attacker to promote. But we've got that energy on the bench Naganadel, so we could always just Cherish Ball for a Blacephalon, promote that Naganadel, Beastring to the Blacephalon, and have the retreat off that Naganadel. So no matter what our opponent does, unless they play a reset stamp into a dead hand, we're gonna be able to do pretty much anything we need to do next turn. And it looks like our opponent's going to be trying to go for that Turtonator one-hit KO with the energy on the Ditto is going to actually be coming up pretty clutch here. They'll have exactly enough with that Welder to take us out. But that'll activate the Beastring turn, and we're up in prizes.
Yep, we are certainly looking pretty good. Now, Turtonator has 5 energy to discard. The question is, which ones will it discard? We also have the choice of a Great Catcher and a Naganadel GX here. So if we were feeling really brave, Jordan, real brave, we could potentially promote the Naganadel GX and hope for double Beastring. But we're not going to do that. We're not insane. We're going to promote smartly and put this Naganadel forward. We're not an idiot.
And as you said, we've got that Great Catcher in our hand, so we don't even need the Naganadel if we want to knock out that Dedenne. We can just Great Catcher it out, use a Beastring to power up a Blacephalon, and getting the knockout on the Dedenne will be fairly easy, at least. Not guaranteed.
I'm thinking, and hear me out here, actually, don't hear me out. I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to believe in myself, alright?
Let's do it, Mitch.
So I'm going to do a couple of things here. This means that we don't need to stress about anything. We can Cherish Ball to find something. I don't know, whether we want to grab a Dedenne or a Blacephalon. We could even grab another Ganadel. I think we just grab the Blacephalon GX to have another attacker. We'll put that down, and then we can even use Giant Hearth to find some energy. I think at the moment the only thing that I'm really scared of is this Turtonator, and we can kill it with Heatran, so that's fine.
Yep, that makes sense. The Turtonator would be threatening a knockout because they do have that 1 energy on the bench, so if we don't knock it out, they could just go attach Welder, take another 2 prize cards, and that would be pretty scary. And hey, we got 1 Beastring, and I think looking at the amount of energy now...
Oh my god, I meant to click the Blacephalon GX, it slipped across.
Oh, that's alright, because we can go into Heatran anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
It's fine.
It would have been better on the Blacephalon.
Oh, for sure, please. Yeah, absolutely would have been. I'm going to keep the Mallow and Lana in hand. I'm going to use the Giant Hearth to grab the last energy, and then we're going to play Ultra Space. We're going to find a Pokemon with Ultra Space. Probably going to be this Naganadel. Oh, we don't even really need to do that. We could just grab...
Yeah, we could thin the other Naganadel GX and discard it with Ultra Conversion to draw 3 cards, which is pretty solid.
We could. We've already used Ultra Conversion, haven't we? No, we haven't. Cool. Let's just Ultra Convert it away. Goodbye.
Let's go ahead and do that. Man,
Bye-bye.
So much card draw, Mitch.
Oh, hey,
Even got
Beastring.
Let's more energy in deck.
Hey-ya! Duh. That was disappointing.
May as well. It's free.
It was free. And, yeah, now we can just, we can charge up. We can retreat. We've got a ton of energy floating around here. Look at this. This looks pretty good.
Unfortunately, they're on the Blacephalon, but we've got a Pokegear in our hand, so worst case scenario, we could potentially pull off a Welder onto the Blacephalon next turn if we're forced to. But I have a feeling that this Heatran's probably not going down next turn, looking at our opponent's board. And we're very close to just sealing this game up. We've got a Great Catcher in our hand to knock out that Dedenne GX on the board on the bench next turn, and we haven't GX attacked yet. So if we knock out that Dedenne and have an energy on a Blacephalon, then the game ends if our opponent can't win in the next 2 turns. So there's a lot of pressure on our opponent. They really need to take 2 prize knockout this turn to stay in the game realistically. They just have to knock out this Heatran, and it's not undoable, but we definitely made it a bit harder by knocking out that Turtonator.
Yeah, exactly, and we've got enough energy in play that if they put something down that can knock out this Heatran in one shot, like a Reshizard, then we might just be able to get there. All we need is a Welder, and we are pretty good, because we can charge up, and that's 6 energy in play, that's 300 damage, so hopefully it works out and my misclick doesn't doom us all.
Well, as we were saying in the profile, the problem with Dedenne in this deck is you're sometimes forced to discard the fire energies before you find a Welder. So it's really good timing to have that Pokegear in our hand right now, so we can try and find the Welder without needing to discard our fire energy, because we're definitely running low on fires at this point. We
are, and that Victini is actually going to take a knockout here. So we are going to lose this Heatran to a Victini. There's going to be a heap of energy in the discard. That is, what are we looking at now? We're looking at 9. And there's a Dedenne, so he's going to just rip them all away here. But that means that our opponent doesn't realistically have anything to follow up with next turn. Yeah, I think we're still okay. There's obviously going to be a knockout here. Oh, but that Ninetales is frightening. And a Welder as well? Oh my word.
We can pull off a reset stamp in this next turn, then I'd be feeling really confident because our opponent's deck's going to be full of fire energy. We're going to be able to really just ruin their board ideally. They're going to not have any energy in their discard pile, so they're not going to realistically be able to use Victini again to take another 2 prize cards. I feel like we're still in a pretty decent spot here, but our opponent did exactly what they needed to do to stay in the game.
Exactly. Now, my thought process is if we can get a Welder, we can potentially just knock out a Dedenne on the bench. The reset stamp is also big here, and we need to... But that would mean we wouldn't be able to search for the stamp with the Dedenne, right? So, like, what I'm saying is we could Welder and attach, and then we can just snipe and we're fine, but we need to keep the energy in hand because it's our last one, so we can't realistically afford to get rid of it.
Yeah, and another crazy idea is that we could just burst this turn, go down to 2 prize cards, and then take out our Dedenne next turn. Take out Dedenne next turn potentially, because if we take a knockout, we do actually give our opponent access to a free Stellar Wish. So maybe leaving this Victini in the active isn't a bad idea, considering they've got no energy in the discard pile now. But we got a Welder, so we've got the options to do pretty much everything. We just to decide which strategy we think is going to be the best option for us winning this game. Hopefully we find a stamp off of the Welder. That would make us in a super favorable position.
Yeah, who are we weldering to here? What are we doing?
Right? I mean, we could put it on the Nagano and snipe one of those Dedennes, which is pretty strong as well, because it would not only give us 2 prizes, but it would also leave the Victini in the active, not giving our opponent access to a Stellar Wish.
Yeah, I think we'll just go to the Blacephalon. We'll just go to the Blacephalon.
Yeah, the fact that we can use Burst GX to offset the prize trade seems really strong.
And we can also attach this energy to Naganadel here. And now that we've got the Beast in hand, we've got all the things we need to theoretically win the game.
Yeah, so it's just a matter of which order do we want to do it. Do we want to burst this turn and then knock out a Dedenne next turn, or do we want to do it in the opposite direction? What we could even do if we were greedy is we could custom capture out one of those Dedennes and then just burst, leave it trapped in the active, and use the Gandalf to win next turn. There's plenty of options here.
Let's discard that.
I think all of them win us the game, unless our opponent gets really lucky.
Alright, I'm going to retreat into Blacephalon. That's stage 1 of the plan. Now I don't know what to do. I think the Dedenne play is super, super strong. Like, we have another great catcher in deck.
Yep, so may as well stall it active if we can.
Yeah, let's just get rid of these.
That beast energy. We could also Dedenne to try and find the reset stamp as well, but the problem with that is we'd lose our last energy in the deck, which is going to it's going to be pretty awkward for pulling off that snipe next turn.
So yeah, what we'll do is we'll burst, right? We've got the beast in hand. They need to find a ton of stuff. Realistically, they're not going to be able to knock us out unless they get incredibly lucky. We've got game, right? We're going to win next turn, presuming that everything goes well. But
yeah,
there is a risk.
In many ways.
There's a risk, obviously, that things don't work out the way we want, and this Blacephalon just gets knocked out, and that's it.
So I think the only other thing we could have done is choose to go with the Nagano GX play. It would have stopped our opponent from just benching a Reshizard, and then going attach Welder and double Blaze for 200 damage. That wouldn't be possible if the Nagano was active, but we know our opponent just shuffled a whole bunch of energy into their deck, and they've got a Ninetales in play. So I think if we did have the Nagano active, they would just knocked out the Blacephalon anyway. So I think we've done everything we could have done except for play Reset Stamp to make it that little bit harder. But other than that, we did everything perfectly. We just gotta see if our opponent gets what they need.
Doesn't look like it. They're switching into a Jirachi and then Dedenne, so there are no attackers here. But there is a risk that Victini does a lot of damage. It's doing 100 already.
So. You know what's really funny? For them to get enough energy in the discard pile to knock us Ninetales, and that means that they're going to have to win the harder way. They're going to have to knock out the Nagandel instead of the Blacephalon if they do that. So having this Blacephalon on the active is actually making it super hard for our opponent to win, whereas if we went with the Ganadol, it would have been quite a lot easier for them, I feel.
This is really weird. What a weird situation to be in. I don't like this at all.
Who would have thought that having the Blacephalon on the active would make it less likely to be knocked out?
We are playing so poorly, Jordan. Blake is going to be so upset. He's going to be sitting there going, "What are you doing?"
We're playing poorly. I feel like we played this turn super big brain.
Really?
We did everything good.
I don't know, man. I feel
it's still awkward for our opponent. If we attacked with Naganadel, or if we knocked out the Dedenne, we would have just been making it so much easier for our opponent to win. I think we made the perfect play.
Just attached to a Dedenne here. They're obviously looking for ways that they can get more energy into the bin, so they're going to switch into the Dedenne? No, into the Ninetales.
They've given up.
This is over.
They're not winning this turn. They're just hoping that we don't have an energy or a great catch and knock out one of those Dedennes on the bench for game. And guess what? We've probably got access to both of those things.
We should be fine. And we win. Cool.
We've done it. Yeah, I don't know what you're complaining about. Oh, the recess stand was
I was just so concerned. I didn't like it at all.
I think that the play that we ended up making was the one that was hardest for our opponent to win, except for the fact we missed recess stand.
Yeah,
but hey, we couldn't control that.
There was nothing we could do.
That was pretty perfect. Good representation of how the deck functions.
There you go. And it's funny because I normally play that matchup from the other side, so normally in that matchup I'd be freaking out about how to beat Blacephalon, and now sitting on this side I'm like, oh, what do I do? How do I win? Anyway, here we are. Blake, feel free to tell me how bad I am in person and in the comments. If you like the content on the channel, then consider subscribing. This is the end, Jordan. We're finished. I jumped straight into it. I'm sorry about that. I should have told you.
Seems fair.
Thank you for watching. If you like the content, consider subscribing. Click the sable eye in the middle of the screen. On the left-hand side are some videos that YouTube thinks you'll like. And on the right, we have our Cosmic Eclipse deck list and gameplay playlist. Words are hard. Thanks, Jordan.
Not a problem.
Hopefully I don't play poorly. Hopefully that was fine. I'm scared of Blake. I'm terrified of Blake. Anything could happen here. He's sick at the moment, so he's going to be coming at me with like drug-fueled rage after this particular game. Thanks for watching. If you like us, follow us on Facebook and Twitter at the YouTube. At the Sableye.
What an outro.
Oh my god, it's a disaster. It's the fear. It's the fear of Blake. I'm worried that I'm going to open my curtains and he's going to be standing there. At the Sableyes _YT. We're way over 20 seconds. Thanks everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye.